Now in this video we'll discuss some questions. Question number 1. What is price effect? And also comment on its sign. So we will discuss what is price effect and we'll also discuss about the sign of price effect. Now what is price effect? Price effect is basically the effect of a change in price of, say, good X on the quantity demanded of good X keeping other things constant can be termed as price effect. So what is price effect? It is the effect of, it is an effect. So it is an effect. Now effect of what? Of a change in the price of a commodity, say commodity X. Okay. Now effect on what? On the quantity demanded of good X, that is keeping all other factors constant. In place of writing, or instead of writing keeping other things constant, you may also write set this values. So it is the effect of a change in the price of a good on the quantity demanded of that good, keeping all other things constant or satisfied. So all the key points have been marked here. Okay, you have to write all the key points to get full marks. Now regarding the sign, price effect can be negative, price effect can be positive, and price effect can be equal to 0. Okay. Well, a negative price effect would imply that when the price of the commodity goes up, demand for it will move down, or with the fall in the price of X, demand for it will increase. This would imply that Px and Xd are negatively related to each other. So if price effect is negative, we will get a downward sloping demand curve. Okay. But what about when price effect is positive? This would indicate the fact that X and Xd are positively related. That means with the increase in the price of X, demand for X will increase. With the fall in the price of X, demand for X will go down. So here Px and Xg are positively related to each other. Okay, so in case of positive price effect, demand curve will be upward slope. So demand curve will be upward sloping. Now, what will happen if price effect is zero? This means that even with a change in the price, whether the price is increasing or decreasing, demand for X does not change. Even with the change in the price of the commodity, demand for it won't change. Okay. Now, in this case, demand curve will be vertical. Here, demand curve will be vertical. Price, quantity, this is your demand curve. Okay. Now, remember that price effect will be positive in case of different. That means normal price demand curve will be upward sloping. In case of negative price effect, in which case will we find negative price effect? In case of normal good or inferior good. See, we are only considering price demand curve and not income demand curve. Okay, so price effect will be negative in case of normal good and inferior good. Note the fact that we are not considering income demand curve. Here we are considering price demand curve and not income demand curve, because if we are considering income demand curve, in case of normal good it will be upward sloping, and in case of inferior good it will be backward bending. Okay, we have already discussed income demand curve in my earlier videos. Well, in another video I'll discuss an important topic, that is inferior good and given good, difference between them, and how substitution effect and income effect together provide us a downward sloping demand curve in case of inferior good and the same implies upward sloping demand curve for a given good. We'll discuss in another video. Now, moving on with our discussion. The second question is, what is cross price effect? And also comment on its sign. Comment on its sign. So what is a cross price effect? Cross price effect refers to the effect. Now effect of what? Of a change in the price of good while on the quantity demanded of good X, keeping other things constant, or you may simply write surface drivers. So here also, what is a cross price effect? It is an effect. Now effect of what? Change in the price of a related good Y. Okay, on the quantity demanded of good X, keeping all other factors constant. Okay, so it is the effect of a change in the price of a good Y on the quantity demanded of good X set this value. Always remember that here X and Y are related goods. Okay, clear? Now we will be discussing the sign of this cross price effect. Well, cross price effect can be positive, can be negative, can be equal to 0. In the first case, let us consider that cross price effect, CPE is cross price effect, is greater than 0, that is positive. Now if cross price effect is positive, what does this imply? A positive cross price effect would imply that with the increase in the price of the commodity Y, demand for X is increasing, or with the fall in the price of X, demand for X will increase. This would indicate that Py and Xt are positively related to each other. Okay, so how is good Y related to good X here? When will the price of good Y, when will an increase in the price of good Y lead to increase in the demand for X? Obviously when X and Y are substitutes. So this would indicate that X and Y are substitutes. Example is tea and coffee. Now in case of positive cross price effect, what will be the shape of the cross demand curve? See, we are measuring price of good Y along the vertical axis and demand for X along the horizontal axis. So it will be like this. as price of the commodity Y goes up, demand for X increases from X1 to X2, and we are moving up along the demand curve. Always remember that this is your cross demand curve, because we are taking the relationship between Py and Xd. Okay. Now, second point, let us consider negative cross price effect. Cross price effect can be negative as well. If cross price effect is negative, it would imply that with the increase in the price of good Y, demand for X will go down, or with the fall in the price of good Y, demand for X will go up. Hence, we can say that Py and Xd are moving in the opposite direction. That means when Py is increasing, demand for X is going down, and when Py is decreasing, demand for X will go up. This means that Py and Xd are negatively related to each other. Hence, we can say that here X and Y are not substitutes, rather they are complements to each other. Okay. Example: tea and sugar, pen and ink, car and petrol. Now, since these two are inversely related, the demand curve will also be downward sloping. Maybe is downward sloping. Okay. So, in case of negative cross price effect, the cross demand curve is also downward sloping. Clear? Now, in the third case, we will discuss the case where cross price effect is equal to 0. Now, if cross price effect is equal to 0, it would indicate that with a change in the price of good Y, demand for X is constant. That even when price of Y is changing, demand for X will remain constant. Even when Y price of Y is changing, demand for X will remain constant. Okay. So this would indicate that X and Y are not related to each other, or you can say that X and Y are uncorrelated to each other. Okay, not related or uncorrelated to each other. Example, say book and water. Okay. Now, what will be the shape of the cross demand curve in this case? Again, we are measuring Py along the vertical axis and Xt along the horizontal axis. Since there is no change in the demand for X, even when the price changes, it will be vertical. Whatever the price of Y may be, there will be no change in the demand for good X.